Good day. Do you want to keep trading simple? You want to get into trades like this? Well, let me teach you how I do it. So first things first, you need to pick a time frame. For me, I use the daily and the 4 hour. Then you need to find clear zones. Now, zones for me, I do off of break and retests or supply and demand. And so if we were to give you breaks and retests, so as price moves up or down, uptrend, downtrend, whatever it is, price will generally come back to an area and bounce off of that previous zone that it broke. And so what do? I will draw a zone from, just to keep it simple, wick high to body, to the bodies of the candles, and wait for price to come back to this zone and give me rejection. So that's one way, breaks and retests. Whether it's uptrend, downtrend, I'll use them both. The other way is once prices come to an area and does all sorts of stuff, but then comes back to a previous high that it hasn't been to in quite some time, I will also do that exact same thing. I will draw from the wick to the bodies and wait for price to get in there and show me rejection. Now I have two different entries that I will get into. I will get into the candle after the rejection. I will look for the reversal off of that. Or once the reversal's already happened, I will follow with the next candle and sometimes even the third candle after that, depending on how candles tend to close. So those are two ways that I will enter into trades. And then let's go ahead and look at just an example here. So here we have AutoCAD. And in the past, we have a couple different areas that price has been to that we can look to see how we could have managed everything to get into these possible trades. These were zones that I was actively looking at, and I may have taken a trade off one of these zones, but we're just going to look into this right now. So let's look at this first zone right here. So we'll come back over here. We'll come back into this time frame here. This is what the chart would have looked like at the time that you came to the charts and looked at everything. You have a high, a low, a higher high, a lower low, and I'm expecting this next area to cause a bounce out of this area, especially if it's going to maintain this downtrend. So what would I do after I get this rejection of this candle here? I would go with the close, mark that up, as well as the high of that area of this candle here. And then for me, I drop down time frames. I want to see what's going on as far as price action on the lower time frames. So I'm going to drop down to the 5-minute and take a look at what's going on here. So here we have an area here that I would be marking up that makes sense. Rejected, rejected, rejected. Couldn't break through this area. Now, given the process that I normally get in, I'm waiting for either a double top on this next 4-hour candle, which never actually happened, a head and shoulders, which never actually happened, a 3-bar reversal, which didn't happen as well. But so in order to give some context here, you might have seen what double tops look like. You might have seen what head and shoulders look like. This is a 3-bar reversal where price is coming in here. You get some sort of indecision, rejection candle, followed by either an engulfing candle, or for me, I use a lower low, lower close candle as also getting in. So if this candle was red as well, this candle would have opened up a little bit lower, but then the low of this candle as well as the close of this candle is lower than the first one. So that would be a perfectly valid entry for me. So nothing actually happened in this candle here. And so the next opportunity that I would get would be this next 4-hour candle here. And so for this one, I would do the same thing. I'm looking for the close of this candle. That way I can reference when it's going to start flipping into the direction that I want. I'm waiting for a pullback to create the wick. Generally, candles tend to make the wick first before it goes off in the direction. And if you look into the past at how candles generally are formed, that's generally what happens. You can look into lower time frames and see when this candle closed, it pulled back a little before finally going down. And so that's what I'm playing off of. And then I want the high of this candle as well. Because if it's going to maintain this downtrend, it's not going to break that high. And so I can get rid of the previous one. I want to focus on this next one because that's where my eyes should be at. And I come down here and look at the zones that are down here, which makes sense. Well, as we have this, we still are in this area, so it should not break that. And then we actually do have a break and retest that has happened here. So if I was looking, what would I be looking for? As this candle opens, I'm expecting it to come up into one of these areas, either that one or this one, and give me a head and shoulders, a double top, a 3-bar reversal, something of that nature that I'm already looking for. So let's play this forward and see what we get. So price comes down and then comes up into that area. Do we get a 3-bar reversal? Nope, we don't have any sort of hesitation. So that was the key on that mark there, looking for a hesitation candle. We have an engulfing candle, but we don't have that hesitation. So waiting on that one, continue going. What do we got here? Ooh, nope, we came all the way up. Okay, so there we go. Here's a nice little hesitation. We have candles coming up into this zone right here. We have a hesitation. Do I get a lower close? Lower, low, lower close. The next candle is a lower, low, lower close. So I would be getting to this trade here. For me, stops, targets, really it's all about your personal preference. You need to get into the market and see how you feel it out. For me, I like to have a wider stop than normal because it gives me an opportunity to get out of the trade if it's going to go against me. So I do an easy 1-to-1 because generally you're not going to have, there's a lot of people out there who can get higher than 50%, but for beginning, starting out, 50% is a pretty good place to aim for. And then you just need to work on how to increase your profitability. One way that I've increased my profitability with a 50% win rate is cutting my losers early and letting the winners actually run out. So if I'm expecting this to be the wick of the next 4-hour candle, then price should not break that right there. So with that being said, I can get out of this trade early if all of a sudden price starts breaking this. So instead of having a full loss, I can lose a fifth of that. And then on the other trades where I've had a full win, a full run, it definitely makes up for the losses. So even with a 50% win rate, you can still be profitable as long as you know how to manage your risk. And this is one of the ways that I manage my risk. So we'd get into this trade and then we would basically let this one play out and see how it goes. And so it would continue going down. You know, I don't have to worry about it until it comes back up to this area here. And then let's see where it goes. It comes back up. Cool. Well, let's see. Come on. Are you going to close it? There we go. Or don't pause. That's fine. You're really not going to stop. Okay. So since trading, you did not want to work with me. Let's go back to the 4-hour and see what that looked like. So there it is on the 4-hour. It would have been a successful trade. No problems there. Move on to the next one, just for iteration. So let's come here and we'll look directly at another zone. Price comes in here, comes back up to this area, gives rejection. Why is this area important? Well, this was the previous high that created the low. So if it's going to maintain this downtrend, it shouldn't break this area here. This is still a nice solid area here. You could probably include, the only reason to include this up in here would be for, you know, like just your visual stop loss to make sure that you're keeping track that price could come up into that area as well. So let's look here. Mark up this area here. Mark up the high. And 50%. I like 50% of the wick and I like 50% of a candle, depending on which direction I'm going with. So as you can tell, 50% of a candle is sometimes where the wick will go. And 50% of there's another 50% candle. Sometimes 50% of the previous wick is sometimes where it'll go as well. So mark up those areas. And then really, I'm just going to jump down to the 5-minute and see what makes sense. If the candle doesn't make sense, like this would have made sense for that area, but now it doesn't make sense anymore. So get rid of it. What makes sense? Well, this area right here makes sense as far as where am I expecting price to go. So this is going to be the flip. A couple different ways I can work on that. I already have areas that I'm looking at as far as particular patterns that I might be looking for. But one of the other things that I can do is if I'm expecting this to be the flip, the other thing I can do is once price starts moving, generally you might get a little pull down before it comes up here and does something as far as creating its wick, whatever that looks like. Well, if price is going to continue in this uptrend, then this area right here shouldn't break. So with that being said, once I believe the wick has already been created and I believe it's going to be going down, what I can do is I can then wait and set, basically I'm going to be setting my order here for once it breaks this area here, I feel like I'm in the clear. Why? Because it's broken out of this structure and looks like, based upon the higher time frame, that it's going to continue down. So that's one way I'll look at it. Once again, the other one being the different entry patterns that we saw earlier. So let's see how this plays out. So it does, oh, it drops really low. So it drops really low, comes down, we'll come back up. Are we going to get anything into this area here? So we have a rejection there. And then, nope, what do we got? Nothing there. I need a lower, low, lower close. There's lower, low, lower close. So we had some rejection here, multiple wick rejections, indecision candles. Now we have a lower, low, lower close. What does that look like? Taking a sell here. Once again, I like to have my stops in a pretty good distance away. That way it's more manageable if this decides to go against me. And with it being a 1-to-1, yeah, I should be good to go. So there's that. Let's see how this plays out. We're going to go candle by candle now, since the replay button doesn't seem to want to work really well. So moving through, candles come down. Where are we going? We'll be sitting in this trade for a little while, but then eventually it rolls over. Cool. So there's that. Jump out to the 4-hour. What do we got? That's what that trade looks like. Now, where are we going from here? Prices bounce. It's come deep back into this retest area here. We're getting rejection here. I wouldn't be looking here because if I'm expecting this to continue its downtrend, this is not an area that I would expect to hold. This should just not be an area that I expect to hold. So we continue on through. What happens? Price breaks through that. Just as I said, if this is going to maintain its downtrend, this would not be an area that I would expect to hold. But now that we're back here, this is a valid area that I would be looking at for breaks and retests. So price comes in here. We get a wick rejection there, a deeper wick rejection there. So you can tell that we wouldn't have had anything there, but we can test it out just for fun. We'll have that one there, and then this one here. And then drop down to the 5 minutes. What do we have? So if we would have had a zone here, price would have came up and we wouldn't have had, that's an engulfing candle. So there's none of these price action candles that I'm looking for, none of the price action that I'm looking for actually played out there. So no concern there. But now here we are with this one. I did not mark out the high of that wick before coming down. I want that higher time frame to tell me what to do and not be so caught up on this lower time frame that I'm trying to look at stuff. So 50% would have made sense for a little while until it got broke. Now we just have this higher area right here. So we have this rejection area here that we'd be looking at. All right, continue forward. We have candles come down, come down, come down. We're back into this area here, and we did not get a three bar reversal. What we could be looking for now is a double top. So price could come back up in here, respect this area here, and get into an entry there. Or we can end up with a head and shoulders where price comes up, comes down, and then gives us another shoulder to work with. and then we'll take an entry off that. So two different things that we're looking for as this gets ready to play out, and we'll see how this goes. So we have price come nowhere. We might not be getting an entry there. So let's jump out to the 4 hour again. Price did fall away from this, but there was no entry. Well, so be it. But price did fall away. A nice fall away. So no entry there, but I think you understand what it is, the strategy. You can just take this now, get into the markets, see how it works out for you, and hopefully it would do you wonders. It's done me wonders. Over the past year of doing this, I have, like, you may look at that and go, it's only $450. Small price to pay. It's continuous profits. That's continuous times I'm able to pull money out of the market without losing or blowing an account. And so I'm just going to slowly build up my account, and then eventually it's just going to keep going, keep growing. And so some of my struggles that I tend to have are holding these trades. As we looked earlier into the Euro USD trade that I had here, it was Friday, and I convinced myself to go ahead and cut out of the trade early. I shouldn't have done that. I would have actually gotten my full take profit versus where it was. But the process that it took me to get here is still the same. It's still the same breaks and retests or higher level structures of demand and support, supply and demand, support and resistance, whatever you want to call it. The key here being is if you are doing this now and you have some questions about how to get it done, the key is making sure that you can continuously stick with what you're doing. Figure out what is working for you. For me, one-to-ones are working for me as long as I manage my risk within that manner. Would it work if I just set a one-to-one and forget it? Probably not. Don't exactly know what my win rate is, but I do know my win rate is when I manage my trades. So you need to learn that for yourself. Hopefully this helps you. Hopefully you can dive on in and get into the charts and find some stuff out about yourself, about how the markets move, things of that nature. And then, yeah, you guys take it easy, be blessed, and subscribe. Let me know what I can do to help assist your journey, as I've already helped assist my own journey. And I look forward to seeing many more people be profitable in this niche, in this career field.